Chester Bennington's son, Jamie Bennington, called out Mike Shinoda for erasing his father's legacy. This is what he said in an Instagram story. "Hey Mike, people aren't having a difficult time wrapping their head around the prospect of Linkin Park reinventing itself. They are having a hard time wrapping their head around how you, first of all, hired your friend of many years, Emily Armstrong, to replace Chester, knowing Emily's history in the church and her history as an ally to Danny Masterson is what it is." If you don't know who Danny Masterson is, I already did a video about it, you can check it out, but in short, he's a member of the Church of Scientology. He's been accused of sexual assault. He got 30 years in prison. And apparently Emily was his friend or is his friend. He was also a famous actor, most known for playing the role of Stephen Hyde in That 70s Show, and his connection to Emily and all of their history is pretty messy. Second, you quietly erased my father's life and legacy in real time, not only during a banned interview meant to clear the air about certain aspects of Linkin Park's history and future, but during International Suicide Prevention Month. But this is what I find especially interesting. I'd mention you, but you restricted my interactions with you because you don't like what I have to say. So this will have to do. So apparently Mike blocked him on Instagram so he couldn't even tag him. Third, having refused to acknowledge the impact of hiring someone like Emily without so much as a clarifying statement on the variety of victims that make up your core fan base. No acknowledgement of the way you groom your fan base, Chester's kids or family, my falling out with your wife Anna Shinoda, who cannot be mentioned either, Danny Masterson victims, or even Emily's intimidation of those victims. And the list goes on and on and on. But he didn't stop there. What you've done is not something for people to acclimate to. It's not a shock that people are just going to have to take time to process and understand. You have betrayed the trusted loan to you by decades of fans and supporting human beings, including myself. We trusted you to be the bigger, better person, to be the change, because you promised us that was your intention. Now you're just senile and tone deaf. Insane. At this point, I would wager that all you LP guys know is disrespect. You didn't trick me. I heard you slip at the end of your Zane Lowe interview. This album has been in the works since at least 2019, possibly 2017. And then he says, "I know your pattern, I saw what you did." So a lot of accusations against Mike Shinoda and how he apparently should have known better. Now all of this being said, I think it's worth mentioning at least a bit that Jamie can't be completely objective when it comes to all of this. I mean, this is his father's legacy, and of course he's going to have strong feelings about this. Now, I did watch the full interview with Zane Lowe the day after they did that live stream concert, but I can't remember everything they said, and I wanted to double check if they mentioned anything about starting the album in 2019. So this is what I did. I didn't want to watch the full interview again, so I just took the link of the video and I pasted it to this site called DownSub, where it shows you the full captions of the video. And I've opened it in Notepad, and I'm just going to do a quick search for 2019 to see what comes up. Okay, it found something. We started writing actually in 2019. We did a couple songs, and it was just everything was a question mark, you know? It was just fun to go in and write some stuff, and then of course the pandemic happened, and if I remember correctly, then they took a bit of a pause and then they continued a couple of years later maybe to really dive into it. But this one I can't wrap my head around. Linkin Park is a massive band, and you would think that they would double check everything before bringing in somebody new to the band, especially as a singer, because we are so connected to Chester and all of his story and everything that he went through. Nobody can really fill up those shoes, but you would still think that they would double check everything to make sure that somebody is at least in line with Chester's belief and stuff like that. And then you bring somebody like Emily, and I'm going to be completely honest, I really love how she sings. She has a great voice, she has amazing screams, and I think she's a good fit musically for the band. But I don't think that's the only thing that matters here. I think we should find somebody who's in line with Chester's belief, especially with the band's belief, or maybe I'm wrong in knowing what they stand behind. From everything that we know, it seems that Mike was a friend of Emily's for at least a couple of years, so it makes you think, did he know anything about her? I mean, I think I would know these things about my friends, but as far as I know, Scientology doesn't even acknowledge depression as something real that can happen to people. Yet this was a big part of Chester's identity and life, and even the reason why a lot of fans loved him, because that's the pain that spoke to us through the songs. That's at least something that I really connected with him. Then you have somebody that doesn't even acknowledge that or doesn't even think that that's real. And what I find kind of silly and paradoxical is something that Mike said in the interview. He mentioned when they were considering bringing in new members that talent would only get you so far. Of course, it's important for the singer to be talented, that's kind of obvious, but it's not maybe the most important thing. This is what he added.
What's the vibe in the room? Like, what's the dynamic between the people in the band and the conversations we have that aren't related to the music. Like, what kind of people? Are they good people?
Are they a good person? Maybe. Is the vibe good? Well,